Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Carol Dyson. I work with the University of Maryland Extension Program, and my interest in international really goes back to when I was in college, and I spent time in the Philippines in an exchange program. So I've always had an interest in the South Pacific and the Pacific Island areas. So I wanted to share with you an experience that's maybe a little different than traveling to another country, because I want to share with you an experience I had where we had an internship who came from Hawaii, a young man who actually came from Vanuatu. Has anyone heard of Vanuatu? Used to be New Hebrides. And this young man came, we got a call from the University of Hawaii, a place called the East-West Center. They had 14 students from the South Pacific Islands that they were setting up for internships in the Washington, D.C. area. This was one of 14, the only one interested in agriculture, and the University of Maryland, the land grant, right next to Washington, D.C., so we got the call asking if he could do this internship with us. And so Alex came and stayed with us for 5 weeks. Now, I'm in Prince George's County, in Charles County. Prince George's borders the District of Columbia, highly urbanized county, but with pockets of other agriculture, both urban and still farms, lots of horses. And Alex came from a small island nation where 90% of the population has no access to the internet. So he really came from a different world. He'd been living in Hawaii for several years working on his undergraduate degree. But he came into this county and had the opportunity to meet with lots of the clientele that we have in Extension. 4-H youth, he went out with master gardeners, he learned about food preservation, and lots of our staff had opportunities to get to know someone that they probably never would have met because of where he came from. So the East-West Center that sponsored him was very satisfied with the setting that got set up. And you know, there were other people, like there was someone at the State Department, there was someone in the White House, you know, so here we were with our little extension internship. But the director ended up thinking it was one of the better ones because he got such good hands-on practical information that he could take back. And it also gave all of our staff and many of our clientele in Prince George's County the opportunity to really learn about life on the other side of the world. So as I think about the value that this experience brought to the county, brought to the university, there are several aspects of it. Number one is that it did establish for us a relationship with a center that may bring many other relationships in the future. It may bring the opportunity for us to actually send educators to islands in the South Pacific. It also has created some interest among the staff, my staff, and other staff in the state to actually want to connect with this island. And so people have talked already about, you know, sending books and sending supplies. One of the big things was food preservation. This is a nation that knows nothing about food preservation, and so we've talked about what kinds of supplies we could send. So it's provided a lot of interest in a culture in an area that they would know nothing about. And so individual people all had the personal opportunity as well, and hopefully they'll have the opportunity in the future to reconnect. And we're now all friends on Facebook. When I think about the personal application to me, I more saw this as an opportunity to connect my staff. I mean, I'm like 90% of my time is in administration, and so I spend a lot of time looking for ways to enrich opportunities for other staff, and so this provided a great opportunity to do that. Master gardeners, 4-H members, farmers, you know, urban agriculture efforts, lots and lots of different opportunities that he got to see and also that we got to be sharing. You know, I think the value to staff is that this young man was not like anyone they probably had ever met before in their lives. You know, we asked him a number of times to share about his country with us, and to even think about a country where there's only 10% of the population connected to the internet, 80% of the population do not have ongoing electricity. Prince George's County, you know, is a very modern society, really. It's a county that is a majority are minority groups, African American and Latino especially, and this was an opportunity, I think, for him to get to know a part of the population that he probably didn't have a lot of access to as well. So I think that there were those individual benefits. I think staff really felt good that they could share. They took him out to the Fesney Gardens and, you know, the FNEP teaching sessions, and he, in his turn, you know, I think saw that these were things he just didn't even realize existed. He went home with, you know, the Master Gardener Handbook from the state and the Food Preservation Handbook, and he just had a suitcase full of materials that he thought was the coolest thing going. I mean, he was so excited every time people would give him more stuff. So, you know, we had 5 really fun weeks with him and really tried to get him to see every part of Extension. And there's no Extension there, but he had heard of it. And so we gave him that real hands-on, and it gave our staff the opportunity to understand what it's like, what a special thing it is that we do. I mean, I think our staff ended up feeling like this is really valuable. This would be great to help him take back to his country.